I had to guess with YouTube, maybe like 50, 60, somewhere in that
Wow.
range. I know things were really humming after we started creating like 150 to 200 videos, but the first 50 were brutal. It didn't matter how good the content was or how terrible it was. I just couldn't get traction. It took a long time to figure out how to make YouTube work. It was actually nothing. There wasn't one thing that really helped propel things or make it take off. It was just a lot of little things that added up. For example, creating content consistently. For example, getting into video and just spending years doing videos before I started getting any traction. The biggest thing for me was consistency and just being persistent and not giving up.
What are some key things or tips that you have when brands are initiating with influencers? How can they find the right influencers, and how can they get the best results from doing influencer marketing in your experience? Because I know you've done a lot of it and extremely successfully.
Yeah, so one of the most important things you should probably do first is combine data, numbers, and your discovery outreach program. So a lot of the stuff that we teach with Total Online Success or our courses is we give them a calculator that says, it already has the formulas in there and put it in there. But just think in terms of yourself. If you don't have a calculator, if a person, an influencer, promotes your product, somebody sees it as a view, they click on that link, they go to your site, they just look at your site, they buzz around, they convert or they don't convert. Like, what are those numbers? Imagine if it was just start with 10,000 or 1,000, right? 1,000 people clicked on that, 1,000 people saw that influencer promoting it. What percentage from there would click on the link? What percentage from there would go to your site? From there would convert to a lead or a sale, right? And just kind of work backwards. And then knowing how much your product costs and knowing how much your product sells for and how much it costs to get that promotional piece of content from that influencer. And then from there, you're really like looking at, okay, as you're going in and trying to do a discovery reach with influencers, you're going, hey, can this person meet these benchmarks? You can ask them how much data they have. Hey, do you have any data in your media kit that can show me your typical conversion rates or your click-through rates or your swipe ups and stuff like that? But I mean, having numbers and data combined with your discovery outreach program is really key. And I tell this all the time to students and people I talk to that like, man, I hate data, or I don't do numbers. I just love creating content. I'm always like, suck it up. It's your business. You got to do it. Like, that's the one thing more than anything that every business owner has to do, whether you like it or not. Like, you can't outsource numbers. I mean, you can eventually to CFOs and stuff like that. But if you're not there, the last thing you want to do is at the end of the month, know that you're in the red or barely in the black because you weren't looking at your numbers every day or every week. It's something you just have to do to create a sustainable, successful business. So, mixing the numbers and the data with your outreach program. And then again, just like I said, what is knowing your audience and connecting with an influencer or affiliate marketer that has a like-minded audience, a similar audience, psychographically, demographically, and that's congruent to yours.
At what point should you start using contracts? Like, there's obviously a difference between micro influencers, medium and large influencers, and the price range goes from, free product all the way up to, millions of dollars.
Exactly.
So at what point should you start thinking about, putting in a contract? Because, it is a lot of work for the creator as well.
For sure.
Going through that process and everything.
Definitely. I always say err on the side of contract. So if you're obligated to do something, as soon as a brand is saying, we're sending you this product, even if it's free, but they're requiring you to post or requiring you to act and do something, there should be some type of an agreement. It doesn't have to be the full out long 20-page contract, just so that you, as well as the brand, understands what's going on. So as soon as it could be something as simple as both of people's names. And it just says, as soon as creator receives the product, they will post one Instagram in feed within 15 days. The payment will be delivered within 30 days. It will be paid on this platform. We sign it. Sometimes it could be as simple as that, especially when we're talking about just product. But what happens is, even just kind of helping the brands really quick, is that small brands or small businesses, they may reach out to creators and send them free product thinking that they're going to post, and then they don't. So if there's no contract requiring them to do so, as a creator, you don't have to. And I tell brands that. I say, I love to be on your PR. I love to get this product, but because I'm receiving this as a gift, I have no obligation to promote or share. And it's okay to be that honest. And then if they want that, we can talk about what that looks like so everyone understands.
You've probably seen so many mistakes made over the years. What are some of the biggest mistakes brands or people make to, I would say, not destroy their brand, but, you know, take a few steps back?
Yeah.
What should people avoid?
I think the biggest red flag for me is, and I see this across the board everywhere, is that so many companies and brands and just people in general are just focused about how important it is for them to say something. And they forget to focus about, it's not about you, it's about the audience. It's about the consumer that you're trying to reach. Like, what are their pain points? What do they care about? Why should they listen to you? And like, who are you? Why should they care about what you have to say? Like, figuring out those kind of simple things is super important, but that's where most people fail today, because they are so focused on all the unique things that they have to sell and promote and talk about, that they actually just get lost. Like, they can't see the forest for the trees because they're just so hung up in their own, silver shining bullet in a way.
Sorry, continue.
No. So basically, I would say that's the biggest issue, that they focus too much about their own story instead of like figuring out like what's important. And then secondly, trying to smear, like, how do you, like, there's a Norwegian expression saying that you're spreading yourself too thin. And basically it's like you try to tackle everything in the shortest amount of time. Meaning you try to, like, instead of focusing on one channel where, like, this is where I'm going to build my tribe, this is where I'm going to, in my book, I'm talking about the fact that, like, storytelling has been part of human history. Like, we had the bonfire, we lit the bonfire, and then people started gathering around the bonfire to hear stories. And if you do that consistently, then more and more people will come. And if the stories are good, more and more people will come, because it's like, this is interesting, this is valuable to me, this provides something. And that's also something that I see many do as a mistake. They just jump on the latest trend because they think that that's what's going to work, but it's never going to work.
Quick question on that one. So brands who are e-commerce and they are trying to enter the market, what's the easiest way for them to get involved in TikTok? So you said Stitch Fix does the lay flats and then has a person maybe engaging as well. Are there some main kind of like trends or pillars of content that e-commerce brands can use to kind of get involved in TikTok?
Well, let me just back up and there's 5 ways for brands to play on TikTok in general. So I can talk through those, and e-commerce brands might be interested in some, but not all. The first one is having your brand channel. So this is your organic, always on presence, right? Second way to engage on TikTok is to work with influencers. Really amazing way in. Third way is to do traditional ads. TikTok offers a product they call their in-feed ads, just like a Snap ad or an IG ad. So those 3 are basically the same across any social platform, right? Your brand channel, influencers, and ads. There's 2 more that we find that are really unique to TikTok. One is these viral challenges. And I think these are the campaigns that are often making headlines, right? I mentioned the example of our e.l.f. Cosmetics #IceLipsFace challenge, which got over 5 million user-generated videos contributed to the challenge. It's totally crazy. This is how we get these billion-view campaigns. I mean, we just launched a campaign on Friday, and over the weekend, it was past 4 billion views, which is wild. Those are the views across all of the UGC that's contributed. So it's thousands or hundreds of thousands of videos, and then they get up to billions of views, right? Anyway, so this is the 4th way for brands to play, and obviously one of the most alluring because of these numbers. The 5th way for brands to play is what we call disruptive campaigns, and this is a category that Movers and Shakers loves to keep pioneering, but this doesn't fit in any of the boxes, right? So a couple examples. We launched the first ever TikTok native reality show last year for one of our clients. It was entirely native to TikTok, aired on the brand's channel, and 20 to 40-second episodes. We launched a month ago with Nerf. We launched a huge Nerf tournament that's entirely happening on TikTok. People nominated themselves to be on the teams. We had team captains who are these mega influencers, and now the teams are competing against each other entirely through TikTok for winning the Nerf tournament, right? So these are examples of just this fifth category, which is totally out of the box disruptive campaigns, and we love those, obviously, at Movers and Shakers. So anyway, just to recap, those are 5 ways for brands to play: brand channel, influencers, ads, viral challenges, and disruptive campaigns. So to go back to your question about e-commerce brands, the ads, number 3, is where most of them think to start, and certainly I think still their best bet, because that's the best way if you're really focused on lower funnel and conversions. Ads is typically the only way you get that direct click out that can go towards a landing page. They are building that functionality more and more. So there's different programs in beta for influencers and things like that. And now increasingly you can have a link in bio. So influencers is probably the next place to look. And then, of course, brand channel. It's funny, we've been having people ask us for years, like, do we need a TikTok channel? And I think it's pretty clear at this point that TikTok's here to stay. So it is important to get that going. But that's going to be more upper and mid funnel.
Say someone's got a few 100,000 followers across all their platforms. Where should they get started with how to monetize that audience or fan base? Because you've done a really good job. You've got a lot of different products. You've got a lot of different partnerships. So one, how do you set up those monetization opportunities? And then later on, we'll get into the partnerships and brand deals and stuff.
Okay, so there are so many different ways to monetize your brand, your social media, whatever. I think you need to narrow down and figure out how you can best monetize your unique value. Okay, so whether you're a fitness trainer and you're very passionate about creating online workout programs and plans for people, you need to figure out, how do I package this in a way where I can scale it and I can sell it to a lot of people. On the other hand, if you're more like, I don't want to sell to the masses, I just want to work with 10 to 20 clients and do one-on-one training, then you need to figure out exactly what you want to do. Okay. So, and you can do a bunch of different things, but focus on one thing at a time. So what's the easiest way to start giving value, in a way that can eventually scale? So it can be one-on-one coaching. It can be selling ebooks. It can be, creating a digital online course. It can be, creating a challenge, a small group challenge, whatever it is that you want, choose it, get very clear on who you're selling to, and then make sure that you have a way for people to opt in to your email list. Okay. A lot of people make the mistake of not grabbing their audience on social media. And the reason why we can't rely on our social media is because in a moment, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, they can completely deactivate your account. They can delete your account. You lose all of your followers forever. You can't get them back. But the thing that you do own is your email list. Okay. And that gives you an invitation to a relationship with a potential lead or a potential customer. And so you have to continue building that relationship with your customer. Figure out what their pain points are, figure out what their struggles are, and literally give them that solution, whether it's weight loss, whether it's learning how to knit. If they have a struggle with something, create a solution for them to buy. And as far as the packaging goes, you have to kind of figure out what works for you and your brand.
But sometimes it's easy to give advice on what not to do. Is there any kind of main things that you always advise brands or stores, just don't do that?
That's such a good question. And no one's ever asked me that before. It's usually what are your top tips? what are 10 things that you'd recommend around this? Okay, what not to do? Don't only publish all your good reviews and reject the bad ones. Make sure you're publishing a really good variety and responding to them well. Don't have the same reviews widget as everyone else. You know, so often I'm going from site to site and I can see, okay, this is a reviews widget from this reviews provider, and they always look the same. You want to have something that reflects your brand and looks customized to the user experience journey that you want to uphold. And a lot of these older legacy reviews platforms don't give you a lot of customization ability, or you have to have a dev agency customizing the code for you. It's hard to manage. It doesn't do what you want it to. Just use a platform that's good, that allows you a lot of flexibility without having to write code, because your site is your brand. You want it to be a reflection of your brand, and you don't want it to look like everyone else's sad old reviews widget with this like gray, and I'm jaded, obviously. I've seen so many sad reviews widgets, and I'm just like, you don't have to look this way. And what else would I recommend? Avoid just having the 5 stars with some text, because a 5-star review tells you that a customer likes a product, but it doesn't necessarily tell you anything else. And we always see those reviews where it's like, amazing, I love it, and that's great, but it's not telling me anything about the product. So if you're able to add in those attributes, whether they're customer or product, then you're going to provide a lot more value to your shoppers and potential customers.
What sort of experiments do you usually suggest for brands? Let's break it into 3 types of brands too. So experiments that you would do for e-commerce, experiments that you would do for SaaS, and experiments you would do for content creators or digital products.
Love it.
So this is going to be a practical question. Yeah, this is going to be a practical question, but just 1 or 2 like tests that you would suggest for each one of those 3 businesses.
Totally. So I'm all about like delivering quick wins, right? Because when it comes to management and just like the C-level, they don't have the patience to necessarily have a quarter or something like that for you to eventually deliver. You need to prove your words relatively quickly. So for the e-commerce, I would definitely go with UGC and influencer marketing, like testing this in ads, different creatives. And it would probably turn out much better than if I just put my product on a blank canvas and see whatever happens. The second thing that I love in e-commerce right now is SMS marketing. I mean, it sounds retarded, but tell you what, like open rates of emails are like 30% at best, right? Do you know what is an open rate when it comes to SMS? It's freaking 93%. And click-through rates are like 30 to like 60% even sometimes, right? So when it comes to cart abandonment and you have the opportunity to just like generate a couple of those phone numbers, I would definitely test this out. I'm so looking forward to test this out with some of my clients in Q4. So that will be for e-commerce. And the very last thing that I always suggest in e-commerce is put your products higher on the page, because the majority of people will never see them if they are stuck out in the bottom of the page. So I'm very heavy on conversion rate optimization, because lately, I mean, you know all about this, Jack, the ad space got so freaking expensive and we don't know the shit what we are tracking there. So it's so more profitable to just like invest in conversion rate optimization than doing something else, right? I'll go back to your question and leveraging this for software as a service businesses. So the first thing that I would do is just like increase signups for free trials or whatever your product-led growth model is right there. I would test a bunch of stuff when it comes to different offers, different call to action, and I would actually work religiously on onboarding process, because onboarding process and all this like stuff when it comes to onboarding new users is like make it or break it moment, right? This is where things can go radically wrong. Yeah. And when it comes to SaaS, I would also be very prone on investing to some like LinkedIn ads or something like that. And I know it sounds horrible because like cost per per clicks are like €5, $5 in your world, or even more expensive. But when it comes to like quality of the users that you are generated at, I would really love to people to try this channel and not just like gossiping around how expensive is it, because it can be quite a powerful channel if you nail the offer and you know whom to target. And then like with content creators, love this question because I'm just like in the cycle of it. I just did like 2 awesome like influencer deals today. So one girl has like 30K followers, the second one has 50K followers, and they are raving about my new LinkedIn course on Instagram, which might sound odd, but I tell you, brother, it's converting like crazy because this is where attention is, right? So those lads have a bunch of followers, which are like female entrepreneurs, and it's selling like cray. So affiliate programs, influencer programs, whatever you can do in terms of making somebody else wealthy is very, very, very beneficial. And I'm actually generating video testimonials as we are speaking, right? So before we started to record this podcast, I just like sent a bunch of emails to people who have already tried the course that I will give them like a free pass for a friend or 50 off for a friend if they just like spend 2 minutes and record a video. Why did they enjoy the course? So this user-generated content is forwarded right back into where we started with the e-commerce. Love this. It's converting so well. I mean, the platforms and the traditional media lost all the trust, whereas people-to-people business is thriving at the moment.
You started that agency with 2 co-founders. And what were you mainly doing for the growth of that? And then what worked the best when you started working with brands and you came in, you ordered their company, you looked at growth areas? What were the common growth areas you guys would specialize in? And what kind of growth tactics do you think worked the best in growing those companies? And also maybe what was the niche of the companies?
Yeah, so I think it was a pretty broad spectrum of clients that we helped. So that was really interesting. The thing was like my 2 co-founders owned that digital agency. So in a lot of cases, the context where we would come in is that clients would approach us and tell us like, hey, we need a new website. And instead of just creating a website, we asked the question, okay, but why do you want it? Like, what are your ambitions? What are your goals? And out of that, you come to some kind of analysis on like, where are the opportunities? And to be honest, in a lot of cases, the low-hanging fruit is really easy. Just basic solid CRO stuff, really nailing the value proposition, really understanding what type of customers you want to target. And this is also something that I now see in a lot of my consulting engagements that I do right now, because last year I sold my agency. And what I see with a lot of clients that ask me, like, where should we grow? I always ask them, they're asking level 12 questions while they haven't mastered level 5 yet. So I see that in a lot of companies, there's a lot of growth possible by just starting with the basics and do them really, really well. But at the other end, like these basic things of following up, making sure the infrastructure is right, that's boring. It's not sexy. And that's always the challenge with growth hacking. People really think it's the shiny objects, the tools, the cool stuff. But if you really want to make an impact, you can't do the cool and shiny stuff if the basics aren't there yet.
Hey guys, we put a bunch of effort into making great content for this YouTube channel. So please hit subscribe, leave us a comment, hit like, and tell a few friends about it.